They told us the world would end in 2012, but it didn't. At least not in the way we expected. Because what began then wasn't a collapse, it was a countdown. It was a slow unraveling of time, energy, and our identity. A portal opened, and it is closing in 2025. This isn't merely New Age hype. This turning point was mapped out in ancient systems long before the internet ever existed. According to Vedic teachings, like those preserved by Swami Sri Yukteswar, we've been moving out of the Kali Yuga age and into a higher age called the Dwapara Yuga. This is the age of energy. And this year, 2025, marks a threshold where more souls will wake up or break down. Pluto will be fully in Aquarius. Saturn and Neptune begin converging for the first time since the fall of the Berlin Wall. And for some Mayan elders, 2025 isn't the end of the calendar cycle. It's the real beginning of the sixth sun. Even the esoteric magician John Dee, working in the 1500s, received angelic transmissions that hinted at longer cycles of awakening, encoded in the Enochian Aethers. Modern occultists like Kenneth Grant believe that one of those windows ends now. See, you are not crazy for feeling the pressure. You are not lost for questioning everything in your life. You are merely standing at the edge of one of the most important energetic shifts of our lifetime. And in this video, I'll show you why this year, 2025, is more than just another year. It is a final test, a portal of prophecy, and a choice point for those who still remember who they truly are. In 2012, millions waited for an event that never came. The Mayan calendar ended, yes, sure, but the world didn't end, the sky didn't split, and the earth didn't fall. Instead, something subtler happened. Time itself began to unravel. From an esoteric lens, 2012 wasn't the climax, it was the activation point, a calibration. It marked the opening of a 13-year energetic corridor, a portal of purification, pressure, and polarity. For those tuned in, what followed was a slow disintegration of illusions. Institutions began to crumble, identity structures fractured. What was true started to mutate personally and globally. Vedic astrologers describe this era as the transition period between Kali Yuga and Dwapara Yuga, which is the age of energy, frequency, and inner technology. Swami Sri Yukteswar noted that Kali Yuga ended in the 1700s, but its inertia carries over for centuries. And the years 2012 to 2025 was the critical overlap where light surges and shadows lash out in resistance. On the western side, Pluto began dismantling Capricorn in 2008. Since then, we've watched governments, religions, and traditions unravel. Now, in this year, in 2025, Pluto is fully in Aquarius. That's not just a generational shift, but it is a collective karmic reset. I'm sure you can feel it. You can feel how the timelines don't make sense anymore, how memory itself feels unstable, how even your sense of self is slowly dissolving and then rebuilding at the same time. That's not chaos, even though it might feel like it. This is portal energy. And portals, real ones, don't come with flashing signs. They test you, they strip you, and they ask you, are you coming through intact or are you coming through shattered? The 13-year gateway that opened in 2012 is now closing. What hasn't been healed or reclaimed will either fossilize into your field or alchemize into a new form of power. This is the very edge that we stand on now. Long before modern prophecy trends, there were whispers of angelic blueprints received not through intuition, but through ritual, through scrying, and through dangerous devotion. In the 1500s, the English magician John Dee, advisor to Queen Elizabeth I, claimed to have received transmissions from angelic beings. Alongside his scryer, Edward Kelly, he recorded a language that they called Enochian, a celestial code said to predate all human speech. These beings did not offer vague visions, but they gave the grids, keys, sigils, and a precise cosmology of 30 realms called the Aethers. Each Aether was a veil, one that the soul had to pass through to regain divine clarity. And each realm was guarded by forces, both illuminating and both deceiving. These notes, buried for centuries, were rediscovered by the 19th and 20th century occultists, including Aleister Crowley, who undertook an intense series of visionary journeys through the Aethers. What he recorded were not abstract metaphors, but they were maps of initiation. And according to some modern Hermetic theories, especially those influenced by Kenneth Grant, these etheric forces operate in long cycles, in long windows of collective initiation that open and close across generations. One of those windows, they say, closes in 2025, not because the spirits vanish, but because the collective opportunity to awaken through these archetypes begins to fade. Just like a seed that was offered but never planted. And here's where it gets even more unnerving. Dee was obsessed with the watchtowers, angelic structures he believed governed the four quarters of creation. But in modern chaos magic, these watchtowers have also been interpreted as gateways to psychic architectures, which are the mind, soul, and subtle body. So, what if these gates aren't in the sky, but within us? And now in 2025, those gates are either sealing shut or unlocking fully, depending on the inner state of the seeker. This isn't just about Enochian law, it's about Hermetic law, which states as above, so below. As the cosmic currents shift, so do the pathways within the psyche. And if those pathways are cluttered, numb, or scattered, we miss the gate entirely. But for those of us who've been listening, for those who've done the uncomfortable clearing, 2025 doesn't just mark the end of a prophecy cycle, it actually marks the beginning of a different spiritual sovereignty, one of no priests, no dogma, and no middleman, just you and the forces waiting to answer a question that you finally learned how to ask. While the West talks of end times, other traditions speak of transitions between the ages. These are cycles within cycles, deaths of one frequency and the birth of another. In the Vedic systems, these ages are known as yugas. Most people have heard of the Kali Yuga. This is the dark age, the time of ignorance, decay, and disconnection from spirit. But what they haven't heard is that this timeline isn't actually fixed. In the Holy Science, Swami Sri Yukteswar challenged the traditional belief that we are still deep in the Kali Yuga age. He actually taught that this age ended in the year 1700 and that we are now in the early stages of the Dwapara Yuga, which is the age of energy, of subtle perception, and rapid evolution. But transitions like this aren't sudden ones. They happen like a tide, rising slowly, then pulling back, and finally crashing forward again. But this crashing point, many believe, is now, in this year, 2025, a moment when those of us attuned to energy begin to experience reality in radically different ways than those still tethered to density. Now let's shift to Mayan cosmology and we will see a clear parallel. Most people associate the Mayan prophecy with 2012, a date popularized as the end of the world. But among actual Mayan elders like Don Alejandro Cirilo Perez, the teachings are more nuanced. They describe 2012 to 2025 as a transitional corridor between two suns, specifically the fifth and the sixth suns. The sixth sun is said to be the era of consciousness, of co creation and spiritual memory, and return to sacred relationship with Earth and with the cosmos. And in 2025, that portal completes its opening. It's not about fire in the sky, but it is about clarity in the soul. And yet, clarity can be terrifying because clarity exposes everything. It exposes the stories we've told ourselves, the masks we wore, the parts of us that stayed small, even when the soul was screaming to expand. In both Vedic and Mayan systems, 2025 is not a date to fear, but it is a date to choose, to remember that cycles don't make you evolve, that conscious action does. So the real question isn't what's going to happen, but it is will you meet the new age standing in your power or still clinging to a frequency that no longer fits you? It's easy to talk about prophecy like it is something that is out there, like it is a timeline, a pattern, or a planetary shift beyond your control. But that is not how real transformation works. These prophecies are not forecasts, but they are mirrors. And in 2025, the mirror is brutally clear. You are either in alignment or in resistance. Not perfection, not purity, but just alignment. This means that your thoughts, your energy, and your actions all must point toward the same direction: coherence, integrity, and presence. This year, energy doesn't just move faster, but it actually amplifies what you are. If you are fragmented, burned out, chasing illusions, you'll feel this magnified. But if you are cultivating stillness, devotion, clarity of intent, this too gets magnified. It's not about what happens, but it is about what you broadcast through your energy field. And your energy field doesn't lie. This is why so many people are collapsing emotionally or psychically in 2025, because they are still holding on to identities that no longer resonate with the new frequency. The age of survival patterns is over. The age of polarity has begun. In Hermetic teachings, polarity is not just about hot and cold, about light and dark, but it is about motion, which is directional flow. You are always transmitting something. The only question is toward what? Now is the time to refine your spiritual hygiene, to clean the static from your rituals, to stop calling everything shadow work when what you really need is structure, clarity, and choice. So, here is your choice. Will you actually meet this shift with half closed eyes, still sleepwalking through outdated loops? Or will you rise Will you rise fully lucid and speak the one word the system fears most? Sovereignty. This isn't a call to panic, but it is a call to presence. Because if the ancients were right, if 2025 truly is a gateway, then you were born for this threshold, not just to witness it, but to remember through it. And if something stirred in you while watching this video, then please like it. Please also comment below with what you've been sensing, your dreams, your disruptions, and your own personal signs. Please also share this video with somebody else who's been feeling this shift but who doesn't have the words for it yet. And also please subscribe because I don't chase trends, I merely transmit the truth. Every week I release videos decoding ancient wisdom, spiritual power, and how to practically apply mysticism in your modern daily life. If you want to go deeper with rituals, with practices, and with guidance through this transition, my Patreon is linked below. And if you are already there, then truly thank you because you help keep this work and this channel alive. This year isn't just about prophecy, it's about your becoming. And always remember that we walk this threshold together. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.